Welcome back, everybody. Today, we know we've passed out a ton of resistance bands, our sticks, and I know when y'all took the classes with us before, we did use the sticks and we also did use resistance bands, but I know y'all are used to the weights. So we wanted to take a second to talk about the benefits of all the things that we are using, because sometimes, especially when I'm doing a new movement, I like to know what it's working, why I'm doing it, why we chose these certain items, because there's so many things out there and so many trends, but we want to show what we believe in and why we believe in it that way. So anything else that you have to add before we get started?
And we just want you to be excited about what you can do at home and everything you learn now when we are able to travel again. You will have these tools to take with you wherever you go. And the more I've been working with the stretch band, weights were an easier thing to teach a group. So I always went in group class towards the weights. But I've had kind of a neat journey with having to switch to 100% resistance bands. And I've really liked what it's done for my body and the vast amount of exercises we've been able to open up and do. I've liked how it's caused me to expand. How about you? What do you like about the stretch band?
Well, that's completely been my time during this quarantine because I haven't been going to the gym. Even though they're open, I don't trust the gym yet. So I bought a set on Amazon. It's a set of 5. So they all are different weights, they say. But what's cool about resistance bands, and we'll talk about a little bit later, is depending where you hold or grasp, it gives you a different amount of resistance. So it's like using a different weight of dumbbell. But I've been using that bands completely for my entire workout. So there's so much that you can do with them, and I've learned that you really don't need the heavy weights or the dumbbells because the bands can do that for you, even if you don't think they will. And 2, it's a great thing that everybody can use. So if your friend has one, it's like later on you guys could be using the same band but working at different intensities. So that's why I think it's great. And you can always change it mid-set too. You don't have to run, go grab something else and bring it back. So I absolutely love resistance bands. So.
I do too, and I like it because when you're using weights, you're kind of at one plane.
Right.
But you can do several different things. You can do a lot to really strengthen in a way that you would use your body in everyday life. And that's something I haven't been able to do as much with weights.
Right. So the first thing that I'll even go into saying, so say we'll pretend like I have a 5-pound weights in my hands right now, and you're doing the bicep curl like we always do in our classes. You'll just start at the side, and then you'll come up. So with gravity in the weights, the gravity is always going to be pushing down on that weight. So you always have that plane of movement. So by the time you have the gravity, it's pushing down, you're pulling up that 5-pound weight. By the time you're here, there's no tension left in that bicep muscle. You really have to focus on that mind-muscle connection to remember to squeeze at the top because you no longer have that gravity working against you this way, which we're targeting our bicep muscle here. So then when we take our nifty, y'all, we have too many stretch bands up here.
That's been a theme
we've
had this whole
right.
time that you don't know about.
Tons of stretch bands. So when you set it under your feet like you're going to do a bicep curl, what's great about it is when you grab onto each end, you curl up. Once you get to that top, you can still feel that resistance. You still feel that squeeze in your bicep without necessarily having to do mind-muscle connection is great. I will never say it's not. But with the dumbbell at the top, you really have to focus on that squeeze in here. Do you still feel that?
Yes.
So then every time you go down, you still have that resistance the whole way. So that's just another part that I love about the stretch band. And while we're here, I'll do one other tip and trick. So say you have the 10-pound, or I guess we're using 5 pounds, the 5-pound dumbbells, you're using them the whole time. And especially in our classes, we always tell you if it was too easy last time, go up in weight. But sometimes that can be hard, at least I think so, because what if you can do one thing at a heavier weight, but then you go to a new move and you're like, oh, this is too easy.
Yeah.
So with stretch bands, what I like to do is you can hold further down, and that's like you're lifting more weight essentially. So even mid-set, say you want to challenge yourself, you go down. Sometimes I like to call them drop sets. So you'll do 5 at a heavy weight. That's all you can do. And instead, to get a little bit more growth out of those muscles, just slightly move your hands up and then go even further. For me, I think it helps you go a little bit longer with your set And it's weird that we say it this way, but you're causing tiny little microfiber tears in your muscles so they rebuild to get stronger. It's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, so I think it's a great thing. As you brought that up, it made me think, how do your muscles get stronger? I think we should explain that because then they'll understand the benefit of this a little bit more. Do you want to take the lead on explaining that?
Y'all, I've been in way too many muscle classes in my collegiate career now, but a simple way to put it, what I like to say is it's a lot of times you'll hear Jennifer and I talk about time under tension, how long you're doing the reps for, focusing on that mind-muscle connection. And I know we brought it up in our class earlier, and I know some people don't like that feeling of pain, but there's a difference between the sharp pain that we say to avoid and then the fatigue. You want a little bit of that fatigue to set in because what is happening is the fibers in your muscles are slowly little tears. That's why the next day or 2 days after, you might feel a little bit sore, but that's your body's way. It's repairing itself. That's why we do try to split up when we do the cardio versus the strength day. We try to give y'all a day in between, and targeting the total body is perfectly fine because as your body gets used to it, it takes a little bit more pressure, a little bit more time under tension to cause those tears because our body adapts. So that's why, again, I think bands are great because you can pick what weight you want to do essentially. Pull down closer, get as many as you can, go up higher, get as many as you can. That way, the longer your muscles under that tension, the more likely you are going to have those adaptations. Cardio is a whole different story, but for strength, that is the best way to think about it is let's build those tears. A little bit of discomfort's always a great thing. No sharp pains. If you feel sharp pains, please stop, modify the movement. But did you have anything to add on to that part?
You know, okay, so I like it because you can make it harder by pulling further, but then you can double it really quick.
Right.
You can double the weight by doubling up on the stretch band. When you double up on that, you can instantly make that so much harder. And what you might not know is you can go up to the equivalent of working out with 100-pound weights with a stretch band. Because so many people have come to me in the hall and said, "What can I really get a intense workout?" Being able to make this the equivalent of 100-pound weights, but going in a lot of different directions and in a lot of different ways, makes this a very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm. And what's great about these too is I have something at home, and I'll try to explain. It's a little rope, and then at the end it depends where you buy it, but a little ball at the end. That way you can stick the ball. You open the door and then you close the door, so the ball is going to be on the other side of the door, and then that way you can loop your stretch band in it, and you have that attached to the door. So that way, instead of, say, when we use our leg and you do the rows, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you could always have this is going to be attached to the door here, and the door is closed, and then you can pull from the other side. And what's great about it too is you can see, okay, I can just pull here. If you're doing a chest press, you're pushing with that weight. But now, instead of finding a fancy bench or an incline where you're leaning back or leaning forward, all you have to do with the band, like Jennifer talked about earlier, changing the plane, is I can easily move where that force is coming from on the band. You can either put it the top of your door right in the middle, but it's your hand placement too. If you feel like you can't get that angle you want, you just move it a little bit lower in your door. Same with the chair. You can do the same thing. So it's cool that we can move instead of just doing straight up ahead. You can go up a little bit at an angle, all with just one little piece of equipment, the door, the chair, your body. There's so much we can do with these. So.
And, you know, you can always make it harder. And there is I haven't found a muscle group that you cannot work with it. And you don't have to have the doorstop one. It can all be done just with a chair.
Exactly. And that's what I love, because a lot of people are like, okay, well, it's hard to target your legs, but if you ever tune in our classes, there are unique ways you can do it. It might be a little bit harder standing, but like we said before, even if you're working your hips, you're controlling the tension. So you get to pick how hard your workout is for the day. But I always challenge you, challenge yourself at the beginning. Try to get, even if you can get only 3 or 5, try to get 3 or 5 as tight as you can, get those legs out. And then if you feel tired after that, don't give up. Just loosen the band a little bit and keep going. That way you're not having to grab new equipment. But like she said, you can target lower body all the way to upper body. I guess you could even use it to stretch your neck too if you really wanted to. Or
Oh, I've got a favorite neck stretch.
Oh, well, if you'd like to throw that in there, go for it.
I'll show you my favorite. So you can use these to help stretch as well. So they take you from an exercise to the stretch at the end. I'll just quickly show you my favorite neck stretch. You have to stand. I'm losing my mic. And then you pull this down. So you created a lot of tension through your arms, and you feel your back slide, your shoulders slide down your back, and then put your shoulder to your ear to your shoulder. See how you can get that neck stretch? If you don't feel it, just pull a little tighter.
Right, pull a little tighter.
And let it pull you into that stretch.
Oh, I have never done that. I love that.
Yeah.
So as you see, because I know a lot of y'all have been doing different movements during this time, now you have a way to add a little bit more weight without worrying about going to get dumbbells, because you couldn't do this with the dumbbells. Now you have the great pull for it. I love this one.
Yes, and then you can, sit down, stretch a leg.
Exactly.
And so you've gone from a workout to a whole stretch series with the assist. So one simple band is really all you need to keep yourself fit and be able to stretch.
Right, and it always is that progressive resistance too. You think at the bottom, the higher that you pull on that bicep curl, it's getting a little bit harder. So in a dumbbell, like I said, you lose that. But with the band, we keep it going. And then if you can control the band on the way down in any of your movements, you're really fighting that because it's pulling you down, so you have extra than just the gravity force. You got that band really trying to pull you, so you got to focus too to keep it there. But that's the great things about the bands is if y'all have any questions or you still haven't gotten one, just let us know and we'll pass one out to you. Did you have anything else to add about our bands?
I just want you to get as thrilled about them as us.
Right.
Because we are committed to only using these, and we're still getting personal workouts in.
Right.
And if you have any problems, you can always call us. We're happy to meet with you, make sure you've got good form and everything. But the golden rule, or sort of, I don't know where that came from, is to always feel that fatigue when you're exercising. When we're like saying 4 more, and if you're still thinking this is easy, then that's the time to pull a little harder. Take your hands down lower, create a little more resistance so you at least feel that more challenged by the last 4. That's why we always tell you how many you have left, because that gives you that, I need to make this count, I need to make it harder, and without using weights and using a stretch band, you can fix it right there and then.
Exactly. So that's these. Make sure to let us know if you still need one. And then we have the stick too.
Yeah, do you want to just talk briefly about the stick?
Yeah, we'll just talk briefly about this. So I know we both use this in our chair aerobics, a little bit in Tai Chi too, great for stretching. We're definitely going to incorporate this more coming up here soon because in my opinion, it's a great stability force. So that way we can easily show y'all, if y'all tuned in the time that we used the sticks before and Jennifer was able to do a little bit more holding the stick up and then you're really not using it, but I can keep it on the ground too and do the same thing she's doing. But I have that support, so it might make you feel a little bit more comfortable. If you're so used to seated, use a pole for your next workout and try the standing variation if we're not using a band that day, because you do have a little bit more support here. So that's one thing I like about them. What about you?
Yes, and it can also take you into stretches or help you remember to have good form. And we are telling you this because we're going to start using this. We were holding off using the stick until everyone that wanted one had one because we had to get more. We have a few little problems. Now, if you wanted one, we should have delivered, and we still have more to get to you if you did not get one. But you can hold good form. A lot of times you want to have your hands shoulder distance. So by holding onto that stick, you know that you're keeping that form. It can also help you have stability, as Sarah said, when you're standing, but then also help you pull a little deeper into a stretch.
Exactly. Because sometimes if we're working too much on strength, your muscles can get tight and you lose the flexibility. Or if you're sitting all day or you feel like you have trouble with your shoulder, sometimes you can't get it past that no matter what you try. But like Jennifer was saying, you use the stick, it almost helps you get past that. Some people like to call it like a sticking point, or I don't know what you like to call it, but that point you just can't get further in your stretch, and that stick can be a great aid for that too. Because I know even when you're stretching your leg, if you can use that stick to help you lean forward, you might feel more comfortable going forward than just letting your body fall forward.
Exactly. And we are telling you this because I know it's hard. I know it's hard not having the gym and the things you're used to, but we've got tools that can really take us a really good distance towards meeting our wellness goals with what? $4 in an investment between the stretch band and the stick?
Right. So it's perfect, and I'm telling y'all, I use resistance band every single day for my workout, and I have seen great progress in just things that I'm doing. So also make sure to check out our outdoor circuit because you can incorporate that if you want something new. That way you're getting your walk in, but you have fun little stops along the way that make you stop and think, okay, what is my body about to do? So we like to try to change things up. Anything else that you have?
Well, and just a hint, we keep walking around campus saying, well, what can we do now? What can we do next? So we are looking towards finding new things, and we are so wanting to do things that you like that if you have any suggestions or creative ideas, please make sure and email us so that we are continuing to build a better and better program for you.
Well,
I guess that's it.
Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you don't have one of these, just let us know and we'll get that over.
And embrace the band and stick.
Yes.
Thank you.